My ambitious and responsible Capricorn friend. Hello and welcome. My name is Mina, and I'm here to offer you a 3-card reading exploring the themes of you, your path, and your potential. I invite you to consider what the reading reveals about possible challenges, opportunities, and personal growth for the week ahead. Take a deep breath, rest your mind, and let's see what the cards have to share with you today. A Capricorn, there's a particular heaviness in the air around you this week. You may not broadcast it, but you feel it all the same. A subtle pressure, the sensation of conversations left unfinished or words caught behind your teeth. It's as if you're quietly shouldering something that no one else quite sees, and in the quiet moments it nags at your thoughts. There's a push and pull between needing to stand your ground and wanting to keep the peace, and the tension hums beneath even the simplest interactions. You might find yourself replaying recent exchanges in your mind, wondering if you said too much or not enough. The urge to be understood sits beside the fear of being misunderstood. Through it all, you keep moving, but a part of you longs for a breath of ease, a sense that whatever storm is brewing might finally pass, if only for a little while. Within this quiet struggle, the 5 of Swords appears as a mirror, reflecting your internal landscape this week. There's an ache that comes from wanting to do right by everyone, yet knowing it isn't always possible. You may sense that compromise has its limits, and lately those limits feel uncomfortably close. Perhaps you're tired of feeling like you have to prove your intentions, or of carrying the weight of others' expectations. The urge to defend yourself, to clarify your position, grows stronger, but it's tangled with a reluctance to escalate conflict. You might notice how even the smallest disagreements seem sharper than usual, as if every conversation is edged with more meaning than it lets on. Underneath, there's a fatigue from always having to be the steady one, the reliable one. You may crave space to finally lay your burdens down, even if just for a little while. There's a vulnerability in admitting that you, too, can feel frayed, especially when so much of your identity is tied to holding things together. In private, you might question if it's worth it to keep swallowing your words, or if it's time to let some things be spoken, even at the risk of discomfort. The 5 of Swords doesn't define you, but it does reflect the internal tug-of-war you're navigating, the desire for harmony and the unavoidable reality that not every situation can be smoothed over. There's a lesson unfolding here, not about winning or losing, but about understanding where your boundaries truly lie and how much of yourself you're willing to give before resentment settles in. The exhaustion is real, but so is the clarity that can come from facing it openly. From this emotional crossroads, the path ahead begins to take shape. Your inner state, full of tension and silent negotiations, is what sets the next chapter into motion. The choices you make this week, whether to speak or to stay silent, to stand firm or yield, will ripple outward, shaping what comes next. How you carry yourself in these moments and what you allow yourself to feel will inevitably influence the opportunities and challenges you encounter. The internal struggle is not separate from your outer world. It's the seed from which events will grow. The way you tend to your own needs in the midst of these pressures will determine the ground you stand on as the days unfold. In these small acts of self-recognition, a new momentum quietly builds. As the days progress, the Page of Pentacles steps onto your path, bringing a new kind of energy, one that's both curious and cautious. The active pressures you face are not just about external demands, but about the weight of your own expectations. There's a sense of being at the threshold of something new, even if the details remain unclear. You may find yourself juggling responsibilities, trying to keep everything in order while also feeling the itch to explore new possibilities. The friction comes from wanting to get things right, to lay a solid foundation, but also from the uncertainty of not having all the answers yet. Others may be looking to you for guidance, or perhaps you're putting pressure on yourself to meet certain standards. There's a balancing act between honoring your commitments and remaining open to growth. The world around you seems to demand both consistency and adaptability, and you're caught in the middle, striving to do justice to both. This momentum isn't overwhelming, but it's persistent, a steady pulse that keeps you moving forward, even when you'd rather pause. You might notice opportunities appearing in small, almost unremarkable ways. A new project, a chance conversation, a fresh idea that won't let go. The challenge is to remain present with the process, to resist the urge to rush ahead or retreat altogether. The Page of Pentacles doesn't bring dramatic breakthroughs, but rather a gentle encouragement to notice what's emerging beneath the surface. There's value in the slow, methodical steps you're taking, even when progress feels incremental. The pressure is real, but so is your capacity to respond, one thoughtful choice at a time. Of course, how you meet these pressures is what unlocks the real potential of this week. The path is not set in stone. It bends and shifts in response to your willingness to engage with it consciously. If you move through these days on autopilot, the same old patterns may repeat themselves. But if you let yourself notice the small shifts, the moments when you feel most alive or most resistant, something new becomes possible. The future isn't guaranteed, but your awareness is the turning point. By meeting yourself honestly, acknowledging both your fatigue and your hopes, you create the conditions for genuine change. It's not about forcing outcomes, but about letting your presence shape what unfolds moment by moment. Here, the Nine of Cups quietly arrives, not as a promise, but as an invitation to savor what is already within reach. When you choose to engage with your emotions, to honor your boundaries and acknowledge your efforts, a kind of quiet satisfaction begins to take root. Growth, in this sense, isn't about grand victories or public recognition. It's about the subtle sense of alignment that comes from living in accordance with your own values. The Nine of Cups suggests that fulfillment is possible, but it arises from the simple act of being true to yourself, especially when that feels hardest. There's a softness in allowing yourself to appreciate what's working, even as you recognize what still needs tending. This is a week for noticing the small joys that persist despite tension, a shared laugh, a task completed, a moment of genuine connection. The invitation is to let these moments matter, to let them fill in the spaces left by worry or doubt. The potential here is not for perfection, but for a deeper sense of peace, one that grows from within and radiates outward. It's a gentle reminder that you are allowed to experience contentment, even when everything isn't resolved. The real growth lies in letting yourself feel it, however briefly, and trusting that it counts. As the days turn, all three cards, Five of Swords, Page of Pentacles, and Nine of Cups, intertwine to form your week's story. Your inner tension and quiet struggles are not a weakness, but a signal that something within you is ready for a shift. The pressures you encounter, both internal and external, are invitations to clarify what matters most and to move with intentionality, even when you feel uncertain. Through this process, you discover that fulfillment isn't a distant goal, but something that can be found in the way you meet yourself, moment by moment. There's reassurance in knowing that your efforts, however conflicted or imperfect, are enough to create meaningful change. The path this week may not be easy, but it is honest, and in that honesty, there is a quiet strength. By the week's end, you may not have all the answers, but you will have touched something real, a sense of self-respect, a glimmer of peace, a recognition that you are allowed to feel good in your own skin, even if just for today. The storm may still linger at the edges, but at your center, calm is possible, and it is yours to inhabit. Actionable insights for Capricorn this week. Let yourself notice one thing you appreciate about your efforts, without needing to explain it. Try giving yourself a little extra space before responding, especially when emotions run high. Let a quiet joy be enough, even if it's small. Spoken word affirmations to repeat aloud for a more positive mindset. I recognize the effort I bring each day. My feelings are valid, even when unspoken small joys matter, and I let them in. I am learning to trust my own boundaries today. I feel steady in who I am. And now, dear friend, I thank you for giving me your time. I truly hope I have given you something helpful in return. Goodbye and good luck until next time.